prayers from this book. I hope everyone has a copy. As always, we start by setting up motivation, which consists of 3 parts. And we keep in mind both what we visualize and how we visualize it. Start by visualizing the refuge field. Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and any enlightened being you feel close to in relation to wisdom and compassion in the space in front of you. And visualize that they are like your very kind parents, waiting there with unconditional love and kindness, looking at you. The Bodhicitta field, your 2 kind parents, mother on the left and father on the right, and all the dear sentient beings, leaving none aside, are joining you in this practice, and here you are leading them and looking at them with immense love and kindness. And third, the purpose of the practice, to manifest the seed of perfection, the source of ultimate happiness within us, by removing the mental defilements, the gross ones in the form of afflictive obscurations, and the subtle ones in the form of cognitive obscurations. We start reading from page 3. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. In dependent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all leads hearers seeking pacification to complete peace, who through the knowledge of paths causes those helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience helps subduers expound a variety of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugata, and protector, to you I make prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays. To you, the Buddha, I make prostrations. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Now we will recite together the Om Ye Dharma mantra 3 times. Those who know the tune, please join, and those who don't know the tune, you can hear first time and then join us. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato hyavadat tesham chayo nirodha evam vadi mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavadat tesham chayo nirodha evam vadi mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vadi mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the Great Sphere. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light and non-composite. Such is the nectar like Dharma I have discovered. Finding no one to fathom this teaching, in silence I will retire into the woods. Beyond utterance, thought and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. It is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of Buddhas of the three times, I pay obeisance. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of all. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, please liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of aeons. The Buddha does not wash the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of suchness that beings are liberated. With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered in misery's gloom. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Please turn to page 14. We'll recite together the praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With a supreme science, face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Thus free like you, the 3 worlds are not, incomparable wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean. To you, the Tathagata, I prostrate, the purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality. To the Dharma that pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the Sangha, I prostrate. Do not perform any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Turn to page 31. We will recite together 7 times the Heart Sutra mantra. Tayathaum gati gati paragati parasangati buddhi swaha 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 Tayathaum gati gati paragati parasangati buddhi swaha. Next page, page 32, the 8 verses of mind training. With the determination to achieve the highest aim for the benefit of all sentient beings, which surpasses even the wish-fulfilling gem, may I hold them dear at all times. Whenever I interact with someone, may I view myself as the lowest amongst all, and from the very depths of my heart, respectfully hold others as superior. In all my deeds, may I probe into my mind, and as soon as mental and emotional afflictions arise, as they endanger myself and others, may I strongly confront them and avert them. When I see beings of unpleasant character, oppressed by strong negativity and suffering, may I hold them dear, for they are rare to find, as if I have discovered a jewel treasure. When others out of jealousy treat me wrongly with abuse, slander and scorn, may I take upon myself the defeat and offer to others the victory. When someone whom I have helped or in whom I have placed great hopes mistreats me in extremely hurtful ways, may I regard them still as my precious teacher. In brief, may I offer benefit and joy to all my mothers, both directly and indirectly. May I quietly take upon myself all hurts and pains of my mothers. May all this remain undefiled by the stains of the 8 mundane concerns, and may I, recognizing all things as illusions, devoid of clinging, be released from bondage. From my 2 collections vast as space that I have amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom lies blinded by ignorance. Page 39. The foundation of all good qualities. The foundation of all good qualities is the kind and perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect, understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once, is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly day and night takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of virtuous and non-virtuous karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativity and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatisfying and unreliable. Seeking them is the door to all suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate a strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great caution arise. The root of the teachings is keeping the pratimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I have fallen into the sea of samsara, so have all other migratory beings. Please bless me to see this, train in supreme bodhicitta, and bear the responsibility of freeing migratory beings. Even if I develop bodhicitta, but I don't practice the 3 types of morality, I will not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I have pacified distractions with wrong objects and correctly analyzed the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate quickly within my mind stream the unified path of calm abiding and special insight. Having become a pure vessel by training in the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the 2 attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I have become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pledges like my life. Then, having realized the importance of the 2 stages, the essence of Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who show the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice it have long lives. Please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separated from perfect Gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma. By completing the qualities of the stages and paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Please turn to page 73. Three principal aspects of the path. So we'll read slowly and try to invoke the meanings of the text also. I bow down to the Venerable Lamas. As well as I am able, I will explain the essence of all the teachings of the conqueror, the path praised by the conqueror's children, the entrance for those who desire liberation. Listen with a clear mind, you fortunate ones. who are not attached to the joys of cyclic existence, strive to make good use of leisure and opportunity, and direct your minds to the path that pleases the Buddha. Without pure renunciation, an end to attraction for the pleasures of cyclic existence is unattainable. The craving for existence also binds things. Thus, from the outset, seek renunciation. Reverse attraction to this life by reflecting how leisure and opportunity are difficult to find, and how life is ephemeral and without span. Reverse attraction to future lives by repeatedly thinking of the infallibility of karma and its effects, and the miseries of samsara. Contemplating thus, when for an instant you do not admire the splendors of cyclic existence, and remain intent on liberation day and night, renunciation is born in you then. Renunciation, if not tempered by a pure mind of bodhicitta, however, does not bring forth the perfect bliss of unsurpassed enlightenment. Therefore, the wise ones generate the excellent mind of bodhicitta. Swept up in the current of the four powerful rivers, tied by strong bonds of karma so hard to undo, caught in the iron net of self-grasping, completely enveloped by the darkness of ignorance, born and reborn in boundless cyclic existence, ceaselessly tormented by the three miseries, thinking of your mothers in this condition, generate the supreme mind of bodhicitta. Although you train in renunciation and the mind of bodhicitta, without wisdom that realizes the ultimate reality, you cannot cut the root of cyclic existence. Therefore, strive to understand dependent arising. One who sees the infallible cause and effect of all phenomena in samsara and nirvana, and destroys all focuses of apprehension, has entered the path which pleases the Buddha. Appearances are infallible dependent arising. Emptiness is the understanding that is free of assertions. As long as these two are seen as distinct, you have not yet realized the intent of the Buddha. When these two realizations are concurrent, where the mere sight of infallible dependent origination concurrently destroys all modes of grasping through definite discernment, at that time the analysis of the profound view is perfected. Furthermore, appearances refute the extreme of existence. Emptiness refutes the extreme of non-existence. When you understand that emptiness arises in the form of cause and effect, you are not captivated by the view of extremes. O my child, once you have thus realized the points of the three principal paths, seek solitude and cultivate strong determination, and quickly reach the final goal.
Would you please take your seats? Okay, last time we were discussing on the karma. Okay. So Okay, how many of you were present last time? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. What we're talking about is, again, to very quickly review. Everything that we experience, happiness, miseries, and a good environment, bad environment, the weather, all these things, is determined by the karma. So what is karma? Karma, we learned that karma is the physical and verbal expression, physical and verbal action of the physical body, action of the in words, and action of the mind. So these are the three karmas. And then we are talking also about what exactly is karma, which is the intention. We learned about the intention inside our mind, intention. And in this connection, we did not really go into this discussion about the free will and predeterminism, right? Say the people say this question about the dilemma between the free will and predeterminism. This is the question which is question to almost all the traditions and all these disciplines, like neuroscience. Again, the same question arises. Physics, same question. Quantum physics, relativity theory. Then with the philosophy, different kinds of philosophy, Western philosophy, Indian philosophy within Indian philosophy, Buddhist philosophy, Hindu philosophy, and the Jain philosophy, and so forth. So all these, so this same question is the issue there about the determinism and free will. So I'll be very happy to discuss on this later on when some understanding. If somebody should remind me, not now, later on, because we need for somebody to understand this concept, how there is no contradiction with these two things. For that matter, one should have a stable ground of the stable ground in philosophy. Okay, keeping that aside, and then last time we did mention about the karma, the different classifications of karma. One classification is the projecting karma and projecting karma versus completing karma. So this is one thing. Did we do that? We didn't do that. Okay, so what we did was more about what karma is, right? And then so we did the definite karma and uncertain karma. So that is done. Now another karma is the projecting karma and completing karma. Okay, let's say, what is projecting karma? What's completing karma? Let's say that you move from Karnataka state to Delhi. You move from Karnataka state to Delhi, and your parents are so kind to give you a house. So there, the parents can give you one house. You're getting it? Can give you one house, one flat, one house. And so this house, don't expect that every day you will get one house every day. So the house is not something like food. Every day you get food. This is not the thing. Houses, in most cases, one lifetime you get one house, right? Okay. Likewise, projecting karma is, say, within one lifetime, projecting karma ripens only once. Projecting karma ripens only once. Once you are projected into this house, then within this house, interior designing. Interior designing, you can change every month. You can change every week. If you have nothing to do, then you can change every day, right? Okay, so interior designing, you can remove this chair, you can put the chair today this here, or tomorrow you can put another side. Okay, so that way completing karma is what furnishes the house. Projecting karma is what the house provided to you. That is projecting karma. And what furnishes the house? Where I'm going to have the window, what kind of windows? The windows, the clear window panes, or the frost, with the frost, or with the film, or what do you call it? Same, what kind of design, what kind of color, what kind of paint, color of the paint, all these are like the completing karmas, which completes the house, which furnishes the house. Okay, likewise, same. How many of you have taken birth as a human being in this life? We all have taken birth as a human being, right? Okay, so in this life, while you live, say you may live for the next 60 years, the younger ones may live for another 70 years or 80 years, right? Okay, so during this while, since your birth till your death, can you change your birth? You cannot. So this is like the house that you have provided. So the karma which is responsible for giving you this birth, that is the projecting karma. After taking birth, then you can have sick health. Sometimes you can have good health. Sometimes you can have money. Sometimes you may not have money. Sometimes you may get good score in your exams. Sometimes you may fail. Sometimes you may not. If you are very good in the studies, sometimes you may be the topper. Sometimes you may be the second, third. Okay. So we see that all these, and sometimes you have good friends. Sometimes you have bad friends. You're getting it? Today, say you have very good weather, the next day, bad weather. Okay, so these are the many karmas operate within the same lifetime. Within the same life, so many karmas operate, right? So these karmas which operate on and off within a single lifetime, they are known as completing karmas. Okay, now I'll give you some examples and you tell me. Say somebody born as a human being. This is a projecting karma, a karma which is responsible for projecting you in human realm. This is a projecting karma or completing karma. Projecting karma. Okay, now you're already projected as a human being. And then as a human being, okay, you're born in a very wealthy family, not only as a human being, but in a wealthy family. That karma responsible for throwing you in a wealthy family, this is a project karma or the completing karma? Huh? Project. So this life guaranteed, all your life you're going to be wealthy. Somebody who is very wealthy in the first part of the life can suffer the worst of the poverty in the later half. You're getting it? Projecting life, projecting karma, we said that it will happen only once in one lifetime. One lifetime, only once. Whereas if the karma operates, twice, three times, more than two or more, that is completing karma, not projecting karma. You're getting it? Okay. Same, which means that you've been born, the karma responsible for you taking birth in a good family, say a very wealthy family. This is a positive completing karma. And then you're born in a very educated family. Huh? What is that karma? Completing, very positive completing karma. Very educated, but the father and mother always fighting. That is negative, right? Okay, now being born in a family, very educated, very considerate, the cordial family, very cordial family, and the neighbors are very complicated all the time. What is that? A negative completing karma. You're getting it? And then you were born in a very good family, say a very wealthy family, but you were born as a handicapped. That is negative completing karma. Although you are handicapped, you have good servants. Positive. So look, we see that there are in millions of completing karmas can operate. Positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. Millions can operate within the same lifetime. You're getting it? So these are known as the completing karmas. Okay, so this is how we have to say, for example, you're born as, you're born in within the same family, and then one child is respected more than the others. Getting it? Respect more than others, love more than others. So these are all the differences in the completing karmas. Okay, so this is how we distinguish between the projecting karmas and the completing karmas. And we also learned last time, we learned about the what we learned, definite karma and uncertain karma. Okay, so this is what we learned here last time. And if I finish the remaining part, then I'll go back to this part. The definite karma and uncertain karma, which is very important. Because how many of you were not present last time? Who didn't hear this, the distinction between the projecting and the definite karma and uncertain karma? Okay, if I get a little time, then I'll go through this again, right? The next part, which is very important, is okay, the karmas accumulated and karmas done. Karmas accumulated and karmas, distinction between the karmas accumulated and karmas done. What does it mean by karmas accumulated karmas, and what is meant by the karmas done and accumulated? Okay, this is a very important point, right? Okay, let's say that somebody, for example, say you are being very kind, and you heard that, okay, there is somebody who has a problem, financial problem, and then you send your brother, you send your sister, somebody from your pocket, you give some money to your brother or sister and ask to, okay, go there. Okay, otherwise you tell your brother, okay, please give some money to that person. You're not seeing the person not seeing you. And your brother goes and gives some money, send like 100 rupees to the person. Okay, did you do the action of giving the money to the destitute person? Did you give the action? You did not do the action. So the action is not done, but you have accumulated the karma, positive karma. You're getting it? You have not done the action, but you do not engage in the karma, but you accumulated the karma. Whereas, say I'm very stingy. I'm not. Don't worry. Right? Let's say I'm very stingy, and then my mother forces me. Hey, right? You have to give some money to this beggar. No. And the mother says, "Oh, don't be too stingy. I'll give the money now." Then she gives me 100 rupees, and then gives it to the beggar. No, this is my money. This is not your money. Give it to him. Then I give it reluctantly. Okay. Was I engaged in this? Did I do the action of giving? Yes. So the action was done. Karma was done. But did I accumulate the karma? I did not. I did not, because my intention is not there, right? I did it by the force of somebody else. So the karma was done, but the karma was not accumulated. I did not accumulate the karma. I did the action, I did the karma, but I did not accumulate karma. So when I do a karma, it doesn't mean that it is accumulated. It is accumulated, doesn't mean that you did the karma. You're getting it? Okay, let's say that let's say that a terrorist arrests you and your brother, right? And the terrorist tells you that, hey, slap your brother, otherwise your brother will disappear from the earth, which means he's going to kill the brother. So I'm going to slap, or you will not going to slap. And then you just slap like this, slap harder. Now how will you slap? You will slap very hard, right? You slap very hard, and your brother doesn't know that the terrorist told you to slap your brother. Brother's so angry towards you, yes, no? How come that you're being so unkind to me? You love me so much. Okay, so there, did you do the action? Did you do the karma? Yes, you did the karma of slapping the brother. Did you accumulate the negative karma? You did not, because you did that out of good motivation to save his life. If you did not slap the brother is going to be killed by the terrorist. You're getting it? So therefore, you did not accumulate negative karma, but you did the negative karma. You did the negative karma, but you did not accumulate negative karma. You getting it? Okay. Sometimes people say, okay, so from this, now, can you give some examples? Can you give an example of as a karma which is done? Karma which is done. Give me any example. An example, then later on we will discuss about karma which is done but not accumulated, karma which is accumulated, not done, and done and accumulated both, and so forth. Or you tell me, I'll give you some examples and you decide. Say somebody who happily saves the life of who happily stops non-vegetarian. Who happily stops non-vegetarian. Okay, this is karma done or not done? Yes. Done. Accumulated, not accumulated? Accumulated, very good. Okay, now somebody, if you eat meat, then there's a problem of cancer, you have to stop eating meat. No, I like eating meat, right? No. If you eat meat, then your life will be shorter, right? Okay, there's no choice, then seeing the chicken, KFC chicken, right? And then, okay, I like to eat it, but my life is shorter, I'm afraid, I should not eat it. Okay, so they engaged in karma, did the karma or not? Karma of stopping non-veg? Accumulated the karma of stopping non-veg? No, because the person did not do this out of good thought. It's out of fear of losing one's life, fear of losing one's life. You're getting it? So the karma is done, but the positive karma is done, but positive karma is not accumulated. You're getting it? Okay. Same, and then in some cases, some people are forced, right? Reluctantly becoming non-vegetarian, right? Somebody reluctantly becoming non-vegetarian, meaning that I don't want to be non-vegetarian, but my doctor is forcing me, my mother is forcing me, my brother is forcing me to be non-vegetarian. They think that my body may become very weak if I don't eat meat, right? Reluctantly becoming non-vegetarian. Okay, so in this case, the karma of becoming non-vegetarian, this karma is accumulated, not accumulated? Not accumulated. Karma done, not done? Done. Karma is done, but not accumulated. You getting it? Okay. So this distinction, you have to make it. This is extremely important. Okay, this is now what we done. What we have done is what the projecting karma versus projecting karma versus complete karma. We are done with this. Projecting karma versus completing karma. We're done with this. Then the definite karma versus uncertain karma. That also done last time. But if we get time, we'll do this again. And then now what we did. Karma's accumulated versus karma's done. Okay, this also we did. Now next part which I like to share with you, which is so important, is karma karma which is concomitant pertaining to the concomitant with experience. Okay, karma which is concomitant in experience with the cause, and karma which is concomitant in experience with the habit, with the action of the karma. Okay, karma whose results, okay, let me say this again. Karma whose results are concomitant. Concomitant meaning similar. Karma whose results are similar to the karma with respect to the experience, and karma whose results are similar to the karma with respect to the action. You're getting it? Okay, in Tibetan, the first one is known as Nyongwa Gyutun. Nyongwa Gyutun. And this second one is known as Cheba Gyutun. Nyongwa Gyutun Le, Cheba Gyutun Le. Nyongwa Gyutun and Cheba Gyutun. This is Tibetan. Okay, this we have to learn. This is extremely important classification karma. If you learn this, then this will greatly help us how to properly engage in the karma. So you're getting it? Okay. Let's say that when we injure the feelings of others, in other words, when we make others sad by saying something very nasty, by doing something very nasty, other person feels so sad, demoralized. You're getting it? So when the person is very demoralized, what's the face look like? The face is glowing? No, right? Okay. So experience-wise, when you accumulate karma, other person, what is the experience of other person? Other person, they become so sad, and then at times the person will go into depression. If the sadness is deep, it can go into depression, take the person to go into depression. So, as a consequence, in your next lives, because of this karma, the result that you can experience in the next lives, in the future lives, it can make you just, for no reason, it can drive you into depression. Because of the experience that you're experiencing of depression is similar to the karma that you accumulated earlier in terms of creating depression in somebody else. Right? So, because of your karma, you create depression in someone else, experience that you're going to have as a consequence later on, that is going to be very similar in terms of being depression for you as well. You're getting it? Okay. And then, when, for example, say, the pain the person goes through in future lifetimes for no reason, or somebody can easily create pain on you, right? Okay, so these are the karmic effects. And then for some people, they lose things very easily, right? Partly because of negligence, right? Partly because of negligence. In some cases, while they are so precise, they are always on their toes, being very alert, not at all negligent. Still, people rob things very easily. People break in the house very easily. Despite you taking all the precautions, still, breaking in the house happens very often to some people. And some people, they meet with accidents very easily. Okay, how many have met with accidents, car accident, bike accidents? Once? Okay, somebody tell me the accident more than 3 times in your life. More than 3 times? 1, maybe 3 times it is because of you being stunned. Right. Okay. So you're performing stunt, or you being a passenger and then you had accident more than 3 times. Not as the driver. Huh? Okay. Oftentimes it happens. Some people, they meet with accidents although they don't drive themselves. If they drive themselves and then meet with accidents, which means that either the person is trying to show the stunt skill, or the person may not be a good driver, right? Okay, whereas if you're a passenger and then you go into the government bus, till you had accident, you go to the private bus, private cars, accident, you go to the train, accident, wherever you go. So these are the effects of the person having accumulated karma to, cause unnecessarily causing accidents on others. Unnecessary causing with the bad intention of causing accidents on others. Okay, so this is the karma whose results are similar to the karma pertaining to the experience. One. So from this, say, when we go through painful experiences, right, instead of why this happens to me like this, you have to keep in mind, okay, in my past lives, I may have created the same problem, same pain on others. Now I'm experiencing through this. If you feel like this, then purification happens. Purification of negative karmas happen. One. Number two, the additional agitation does not happen. Two benefits. One is, because you accept the karma, purification happens. Purification of the negative karmas happen. Number one. Number two, unnecessary additional agitation. Why it happens to me? Already you have the problem. Plus, why it happens to me? When you say this, you are more agitated. So this agitation makes you even more unhappy. So, one, because of karma. Additional, you are adding the pain because of the agitation. So if you understand the karma of this, okay, karma, there's one karma whose results are similar to the karma accumulated with respect to experience. Okay, this karma now, I'm going through this. Okay, in future I should not be creating pains on others. Right? So that way it will really help you to purify negativities, and it will also stop you from accumulating more negative karmas in the future. Okay, then the next one is extremely important. Karma whose results are similar, concomitant or similar to the karma accumulated pertaining to the action. This is so important. Chebagyutan. Okay, this is so important. Okay, let's say some people, right, as a young child from the same family as young children, some children they easily go into pickpocketing or stealing things very easily. And some, they become hesitant, they do once, they become so scared, they don't dare to do it the second time, right? Some, no hesitation, right? Do it once, second one's very easy, third like this, and it becomes very bad habit very easily. You're getting it? Okay, so these are, so with this, okay, this is just one example. And some people, the moment they see a book, they just grab at it. Right? They do like this. And some people, they step books are there, still don't care. Right? This is chocolate, then the eyes become wide open. Right? Okay. Otherwise, with the books, not interested. Hey, the books are there, read it. Now you have so much of time, right? Then next, the doctor's appointment is after 1 hour. So you have time, read it. Okay. Right? And then when you're looking at me, you look at like this. Where's the picture? Photographs. Right? Photographs. And the moment you leave, then keep it there. Right? Okay. So this is, the person did not really accumulate karma, which is similar to whose results are similar to the karma pertaining to the action of reading books. You're getting it? Okay, so is this a good thing or bad thing? Karma whose effects are similar to the karma accumulated pertaining to the experience, pertaining to the action of not reading books. Is it good or bad? Very bad, So therefore, how to remove this karma? Right? Now, start reading books. every time you pick up a book, and try to see at least the table of contents. Right, at least the table of contents. If you really don't feel like reading the whole book, at least read through the contents. What is there, right? Otherwise, usually you don't even touch the book. And second time you start touching the book, but look at the pictures. Now third one is better than that is what? Just table of contents, right? And in some cases, just look at the blurb, meaning the what?
The synopsis and the
not really synopsis, say the comments by other authors given, you read them, oh, this is much better. Well, that way you slowly build up the karma, whose effects are similar to the karma accumulated pertaining to the action of reading books. And then, once you start reading the table of contents, some of the table of contents are very interesting. For example, here, so what is this? This is 10 systems. Okay, 10 systems, okay, this is His Holiness the Dalai Lama's public. Oh, that's interesting. The Dalai Lama, I met him, I heard about him so many times. So what did he say? Right? You read it, and then the moment it goes into the technical part, okay, keep it there. Right? Okay, then the next time you read it, and then you say, okay, divisions, assertions, bases, classify into this, okay, these are all technical, I don't say anything. Person, consciousness, what is consciousness, right? Page 31. Then you go to page 31, right? Then slowly the habit is being built. The action of reading books is being built up. With this, what happens? Next life, even as a young boy, young girl, right? You see books, you just grab at it, right? Oh, even though you can't read anything, but you feel that it's like a treasure for you, right? Okay, just sharing with you. I'm not too sure whether I've really accumulated so much of these karmas, which are whose effects are concomitant with the karma accumulated pertaining to the action of the reading books. I remember when I was, I think, age 6 or 7, my father was from a very humble family, and really do not have any habit of, say in the first place, we can now, from now, looking at the situation now, we can say that he was illiterate. So in the house, no books other than his own daily prayer book, otherwise nothing there as a book. Somehow I got a book, and I must be age 6. Then I didn't know how to read at all, because of not like today's children. Today's children, age 4 or 5, they start reading books, right? In my case, first of all, joining the school was very late, and then they somehow totally neglected my karma not to have that opportunity. So, but I got a book. I think like maybe this fat book, English book. And I did not know how to read the books. Now I remember that within that, okay, the letters are there, and then there were some drawings are there, drawings of some rats. I could still remember that, right? And this book was I could feel like a treasure for me. I could feel like a treasure. Somehow I got this book. I don't know where I got this book from. I feel like a treasure. So, which is the place, I was in school, TCF school, Dharamsala, TCF school. And in school, say the boarding school. So where should I keep this book? This is the treasure. I should keep this book in the most safe place. And tell me which this young boy will thinks of the most safe place. Huh? School, or your father's place. Father's place, right? So I made sure that during the monthly, what is that? We call the second Saturday, 2 days off. So there, I took that to my father's place and kept it there. That it's supposed to be a very safe place. Then I didn't get up when my father had to go to his own small business here and there. So we didn't get the chance to go to his place every month. So after, maybe about like after 1 year or after like 8 months, then I went there. What was in my mind? Not to meet my father, but to get this book. And looking at the book, I could not find the book at all. Right? Now, I could conjecture where the book went. Where did the book go? Huh? Where? Can you guess? Huh? No, recycling concepts are too far away. Too far away. Guess. No? No snacks. No snacks. For eating snacks. Snacks is not there. Why do we need the So guess. Those days, we do not. Those days meaning maybe like now, like 40 something years ago. No gas. No gas fuel. So what? Wood. So it became a fuel. Right? My father, what is this boy? What is this boy? Okay, so we need to ignite the fire. So for that, the paper will catch the fire very easily. Oh, there's this Dorji project. Okay, so he's not here. Never mind. I was looking for the book. I could not find it anywhere. Right? It must have been a part of the fuel. Right? So what I'm saying is that from there, I could feel that perhaps there must be some karma which I accumulated, whose effects are similar to the karma accumulated pertaining to the action of, I don't know, I should maybe reading books, I'm not too sure. Action of collecting books. Collecting books doesn't mean that the person is good at reading, right? Okay, so even today I collect lots of books. If you ask me whether you read the books, I'm not too sure. Okay, so this is extremely important thing. With this, what we do, for example, let's say the good things they are doing, good things, never make it a habit to delay. Good things, never make it a habit to delay. Every time you delay something to do good, okay, I'll do tomorrow, what are you doing is you accumulate karma whose effects are similar to the karma accumulated pertaining to action of not doing that, not doing the good things. You getting it? So therefore, what do you prefer? Next time you're born as a young girl, young boy, okay, the books, I'll do tomorrow. You like to be born like this, or the books? Yes, I'll do it right now. Which do you want to? Which of the two forms you want to take birth? Huh? The second or the first one? The first one, which the books are tomorrow. Mom, please give it to tomorrow, not today. Or, oh, the book is so good. What is there? Right? So which of the two you like to take birth? Which form you like to take birth? Second one. If you want to do that, you have to accumulate karma now. How? By reading more books now. Right? Not the what? Sun bliss. What is that? Sun bliss?
Sunday.
No. The what? Bollywood magazines are there.
Oh,
C-I-N-E. Cine bliss. Okay. Right. Okay. Now we're always reading Cine bliss. Always reading, what is that? The film fair. Or what reading other pages? What is that? This one book comic. This is very popular comic. No, with the terrible English. Tingle, with the terrible English. Just pick up these books, right? And the really very standard books. Oh, very complicated. Then the Cine bliss, right? Oh, you're so excited to pick up a Cine bliss, right? And then the Times of India, along with that, Times Delhi also comes. The two Delhi Times come. With the Delhi Times, all these Bollywood things are there. And the Times of India, the proper magazine, the proper newspaper will go there and pick up the If this is what we do, we're accumulating the karmas, what? Karmas whose effects are concomitant with the karma accumulated pertaining to the action of reading rubbish things. Right? Next life, as a very young child, you will not pick up the standard books. You'll be very happy picking up the novels and the rubbish things. Whereas in this life, you pick up the standard books, right? Rubbish things you just browse through and through this. The standard books, you treasure this, okay, this is very standard, and then you recommend others also, this is very good book, like this. You accumulate enormous portion of karma, whose effects are, okay, let's know how to say this in English. Accumulated enormous portion of karma, whose effects are concomitant, okay, say this, whose effects are concomitant with the karma accumulated pertaining to the action of reading valuable books, good books. You getting it? Okay, that is so important. Okay, and then, for example, let's say getting up in the morning, right? Get in the morning. Okay, tomorrow I'll get back. Okay, 6 o'clock. Then you with the mobile 6 o'clock, put it there, right? And then tomorrow 6 o'clock, the bell rings. 6 o'clock. Then you press it, right? Then go till like 8, 9, 10. Okay, so there, decide. The best thing is the night before you go to bed. Decide. Okay, tomorrow what time you will get? Okay, keep in mind. Minimum you need 6 to 8 hours sleep. Don't forget it. In a day, minimum you need. Some people, they go to the extreme. Extreme saying, okay, it's already like say 1 a.m. today, and tomorrow I'll get up at 5. This is too much. This is extreme. Don't go for extreme. Make sure that you should be very realistic. You should be very pragmatic. Right? This is so important. Minimum you get 6 to 8 hours sleep. This is so important. With this in mind, for example, say tonight, if you go to, okay, so now I'm going to go to bed. It's already 10 o'clock. Okay, 10 o'clock you want to go to bed. So 10, then tomorrow, what time? It's like the 7 hours. 5. Okay, tomorrow 6. Okay, 6. Tomorrow 6, I'll get 8 hours. 8 hours is good enough for me, right? Tomorrow 6, I'll get up. Or all your family members, they sleep like till 7, right? Okay, then I'll get the 7. It's fine. Sometimes you can have like 8 hours, 9 hours is fine. What's wrong with that? But the point is that when you say that I'll get up at 8 tomorrow, or 7 tomorrow, or 6, when you say this, make sure that there's a minimum of 6 to 8 hours sleep. With this, if you decide to get up at 6 tomorrow, no matter what, try to get up at 6. Right? Otherwise, you are accumulating negative karma whose effects are concomitant with the karma accumulated pertaining to delaying. Right? Delaying. So next life, even as a very young baby, right? He's so good at doing things, right? One of my nieces who was very young age, I think like those days age, I think maybe like 10, 11, so good at doing things. Okay, go to watch this mom. Okay, I'll do it later. Okay, would you mind bringing this? Oh, I'll do it later. This is so these are the bad habits that we built. And then in next life, it's so difficult to curb these bad habits. You're getting it? Okay. So therefore, in this life, try to say, what do you say? What do you say? Don't give in to the laziness. Don't give in to the laziness. Okay. This is known as, okay. So from this, we what we learn is that the karma, another way of classifying the karma is karma whose effects are concomitant with the, okay, I'll say this and then you repeat after me. One karma is karma whose effects are concomitant or similar with the karma accumulated pertaining to the experience. One. Number two is karma, whose effects are concomitant with the karma accumulated pertaining to the action. Okay, these are the two karmas that we need to know. Once you know these two things so well, then say any good things you should be doing, do it right there, don't delay, right? This is very important. Okay, can anyone tell me what these two karmas are? Just tell me, or you can say this in your own words. Anyone?
So one is the karmas done whose results are similar to the karmas pertaining to experience.
To the experience, very good.
The other is karmas whose results are similar to the karmas done pertaining to action.
Very good. Okay, so this is what we need to keep in mind, right? Okay, the next that I'd like to share with you is okay, the karma. The karma, okay, that is more in terms of the effects. Okay, karma whose effects pertain to the environment, and karmas whose effect pertain to the ripening result. Karma whose effects, okay, let's say ripening results of the karma, and the environmental results of the karma. Ripening results of the karma and the environmental results of the karma. Okay, let's say that you are born in a place where you have a very healthy body, right? Very healthy body, good looking, complexion. Okay, this is more with yourself, your experience, in terms of your experience where anybody who sees you, who hears about you, they feel the pleasantness, right? So that is related to your aggregates. So that effect is known as the ripening effects of the karma. Ripening effects of the karma. For example, say you having a healthy body, this is also very important, and good looking is very important. And then say for example, the complexion is also very important. And whatever of the good thing, this is so important. This is known as the ripening effects of the karma. Other one is that you are in a born in a place where the environment is so clean. And the environment is, say, the temperature-wise is very moderate. You're getting it? Temperature-wise is very moderate. Environment-wise is very clean, and the landscape-wise very pleasant, nice. So therefore, these are known as the environmental effects of the karma. Okay, whereas on the contrary, say with the ripening results, you can have very ill health, right? So everything, say with the things not really going as nicely, not appealing, and so forth. These are the ripening results of a negative karma. And the environmental results of bad karma is that you're born in a very marshy place, and in the place frequented by robbers, right? And a very polluted area, and where, for example, say they frequented to dengue, what is that? Dengue or dengue? Both are correct, right? Right? So in Delhi, what do you call it? Dengue or dengue? Dengue, where? You don't know that. Okay, both are correct, but in some places it's just known as dengue. In Delhi, maybe Maybe the younger ones would call dengue. It's nice, right? Okay, so the point is that when place where frequented with the dengue, malaria, so forth, so these are known as the environmental effects, results of the negative karma. You're getting it? Okay, so when we see that you are in an environment which is not really conducive, so forth, you should see that, okay, these are the effects, these are the environmental effects of negative karma. So I should not be engaging in negative karma, which give rise to the what? Bad, non-conducive environments. So how? For example, you force somebody to go into a very, harsh climate, you force somebody to go into a very bad place and so forth, you accumulate negative karma, the environment is going to be very unconducive for you in the future. Right? So therefore, giving medicines to other people, then always, making others comfortable in whatever capacity that you can. You can, create a conducive environment for the other person. So these are the karmas which will make you to experience very good environment in the future. Okay, and then say always appreciating somebody's youth, somebody's complexion, and appreciating the admiring somebody, consoling somebody, giving security to somebody, giving the solace, consoling other people, and so forth. These are the causes for you having an appealing look in the future lifetimes. So these are extremely important for us to know what they are. Okay, now how many kinds of karmas we have accumulated thus far in the past lives? Is that there are innumerable karmas, innumerable positive karmas accumulated, innumerable negative karmas accumulated in the past. Right? Innumerable positive karmas, innumerable negative karmas. And negative karmas can ripen any time. Then that can actually throw us into the hands of the terrorists, then to be born in the KFC, right? Okay, how many of us enjoy KFC? Okay, so the point is, I'm not really saying that it's so bad that you like KFC. That's not what I'm saying. The point is that as we enjoy what is happening in KFC, right? The food that we get from KFC. And nowadays, I think I heard that, I don't know whether it's true or not. In KFC, you even get vegetarians. Is it true? You get vegetarian? From KFC, you can get vegetarian food also, snacks. Okay, that's good. So the point is that KFC usually known for the chickens, right? Okay, so basically what is happening is that as we feel so fond of these products related to the animals, meaning the chickens and so forth, where somebody has to lose one's life for somebody else's food, right? So there, the point is that we accumulate karma for us to take birth in these places. For us to take birth as a chicken and then lose our life for somebody else's food. So therefore, it's just unnecessary. So if we know how the karma operates, then we can think of slowly reducing the number of the times that you go to visit the KFC, or slowly cut down on the non-veg and so forth. Okay, so these would be the good things that we give them. Otherwise, the future lives we cannot see, but it's real. And then unnecessarily we have to take birth there, right? And then somebody else is going to enjoy us, right? It's a disaster, it's terrible. So therefore, we're accumulating negative karmas to take birth there. Take birth there as the poor chickens. So by enjoying these things. Okay, what I tell people is that during my childhood, so just sharing. I don't mean to say that those people who are non-vegetarian, you are terribly bad. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, okay, just be aware of this information, be aware of these facts, and then see how to act. Oftentimes, we act out of lack of knowledge. So then, what do? Once somebody gets information, and then somebody is inspired, right, to cut non-knowledge altogether, or to cut it 50%, or at least mentally feel, okay, I really don't really approve myself for eating non-vegetarian, but I'm doing it, but I'll try my best, may I be also able to not go for non-veg, eventually may I become vegetarian. Even somebody having such aspiration, even that is so good, right? Negative karmas are subdued. So this is all because of the information. So we need to know these facts. So important. For that matter, I'm sharing with these things for you. And then I personally, I was always telling my friends, some people who I feel more comfortable to be very direct. I tell them that, in fact, I remember myself, when I was, I think, class 9, my friend, we were in school, Dharamsala, and my friend during the summer holidays, he still has his parents here in Delhi, and they were running up restaurants. And after the holidays, coming back, one day I was in class 11 or class 10, I think 10. I was just taking a nap, and suddenly he showed up in my room, and he gave me some chicken, right? Fried chicken. I ate it. It's extremely delicious. Extremely delicious. So then later on, become vegetarian. I always tell people that if this chicken, they grow like potatoes, then I will always eat chickens. But this is not the case. It's very delicious, but somebody has to lose their life for your delicious food. For how long? For 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes. Somebody has to lose their life. It's very unfair. So, but it's not that I don't like chickens. I always tell people that if chickens, they grow like potatoes, mushrooms in the field, I would always feed myself with chickens. But the reality is very different. Somebody has to lose life. And the one time I had, say, some lung problem, because of which I had to go for medical checkup, and the doctors had to take biopsies. For the biopsies, the procedure is very difficult, very painful, the procedure. I don't know whether that should be the actual procedure or the radiologist. The radiologist, he did a shortcut. Right? What he did was that he was to actually mark a spot where he's going to put the injection, the needle to take some the fluid from my lungs. So he need to mark the spot. How did he mark it? He did not mark with a permanent marker. He used a more permanent marker. So what he did was that the needle, take it out, and the needle cap, there's, what is this? Round. So he put it there and did like this. It's like a piece of, dead animal, like this. And then automatically it becomes red. And it becomes quite permanent, right? It was so painful when he was doing this. And finally then he put the needle, and the needle was a big needle, right? And when the needle was put in, but going through I could feel going through the lungs, although it was local anesthesia was given, local anesthesia was done, still I could feel the pain. The moment it touched the lungs, it was like as though like the boulder was crushing me. Tick, 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 tick. This was the sound that I could hear as he was penetrating. And then what did he say? He told me that, okay, when we're going through this process, don't move. If you move, all the process have to be repeated. So I could not move, although I could feel the pain, I could not move. Okay, so then I was put into with the needle there to see whether the needle was precisely there on the problem of with the lung problems. Then I was put in the scan, and then they was just looking at from the screen to see whether it hit the right spot. And then they took me out, and then the fluid was taken out. Okay, so the whole process was so painful, and there was one nurse, Tibetan nurse, who kindly came to help me. And then I asked the nurse, "Are you vegetarian?" She said, "No." Then I told her that we, the human beings, it is totally unfair. We are so harsh on animals. We are so unkind. We are so ruthless. Because for me, there's local anesthesia in the first place. Local anesthesia. And it's not a knife. It's just a very fine needle. And still the pain is so acute that I could not bear it. Right? And these poor chickens, where is anesthesia? And it's not a needle. It's a whole knife. And it's not just a small part, just the whole throat slit. Right? So this is the amount of pain that these poor chickens are going through. Right? So is it possible, can you be vegetarian? I told her. And she said yes. She said yes. And then this amount of the pain that we go through despite the local anesthesia, despite being a very tiny needle, and it's a very localized place, and still the pain is so acute. Okay, so this was my sharing, right? So the point is that oftentimes the people who are non-veg, it's not because that they don't think about these problems, simply that they're unaware. Oftentimes when we are aware, then our thinking can change, right? And while being non-vegetarian, still, there are so many ways. You can cut down half. You can cut down with okay, now I stop the chickens. I eat only this part. Even that is amazing step that you're taking. And some people, they said that you are not eating chicken, but you're eating mutton. So what is this, right? If you're non-vegetarian, pure non-vegetarian, right? Why do you have to remove these abstain one? So this is a disaster. These are all the people who are really unaware of what is virtue. It doesn't mean that if you to be virtue, you should be 100% virtuous. Right? If you're not 100% virtuous, go back to 100% non-virtuous. No, there are so many numbers in between. Right? Say 10% virtue, 10% virtuous is far better than 1% virtue. 20% virtue is far better than 10% virtue. So keep improving, keep progressing. That is so precious. As long as progress is happening, this is your success. Okay. Now next point is that if somehow the fact is that we have there's so much of the non-virtuous karmas, negative karmas accumulated in the past. What can we do with this? Is there a possibility the moment they ripen, then they can throw us, projecting karma, they can throw us into terrible experiences, like taking about the hell realm, hungry ghost realm, animal realm, so forth, is terrible. And then the completing karmas, they can make us suffer the terminal illness, right? And then they can throw us into the hands of the terrorists, and so forth, which are all just acutely unbearable. Okay, so what to do with these? I've already accumulated these negative karmas from past lives. What to do? We can purify them. We can purify them. How to purify them? Okay, so this purification is done with the help of what is known as the 5 powers of purification, the 4 powers of purification, right? Okay, 4 powers of purification. 4 powers of purification. The first one is the power of the basis. The power of basis. Number 2 is the power of regret. Number 2 is the power of regret. Number 3 is the power of antidote. Number 4 is the power of not relapsing to the negativities. Let me say this again. The power of basis, and don't worry, I'll explain each one of them. The power of basis, the power of regret, the power of antidote, and finally, the power of not relapsing to the negativities. The 4 powers. Okay, I'll explain each one of them. The first, what is the first? The power of basis. So negative karmas that accumulate, either they're related to the enlightened beings, or to the sentient beings, right? For example, when we say, oh, what is low karma? Low karma doesn't make any sense. The Buddha, this is what just doesn't make any sense. You are, in a way, accumulating negative karma related to the enlightened beings, such as Buddhas. And when you say, when you feel, say, the jealous towards somebody else, when you feel angry towards your neighbor, when you shout at your parents, unnecessary shouting at your parents, right? And so forth, anger, so forth, these are usually related to the other sentient beings, right? So we see that negative karma somehow we accumulate related to the high enlightened beings or the sentient beings too. So the basis, it is on the basis of these 2 objects, enlightened beings and the sentient beings, that you accumulate negative karma. So the power of the basis is that related to the enlightened beings, we practice refuge. I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, right? So we go for refuge. And then with the sentient beings, you practice compassion, bodhicitta, compassion towards the sentient beings. So from this prayer which you read before we start the class, so there's one stanza in Tibetan, Ven Geshe Dorji Damdul. So there's a Tibetan version which has the refuge and bodhicitta both. In English, it reads what? I'll go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. By the power of accumulation, the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. The first 2 lines, refuge. The next 2 lines, bodhicitta, compassion. Right? So this stanza you recite it wholeheartedly while reciting, not for the sake of recitation, but for the sake of reflection. You have to reflect on the meanings. So the more you reflect on the meanings, by actually taking refuge in 3 jewels, okay, I've done negativities. Negativities will only throw into me in miseries. So Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, please protect me from these miseries, right? So that is refuge. And then, so I accumulate negative karmas by being harmful to the other beings. Henceforth, instead of being harmful, I will embrace the others with love and affection. Bodhicitta. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. So with these 2 things, refuge and bodhicitta, that serves as the power of the basis. What is number 2? Which power? Power of regret. So negativities that we do, to what extent you're able to cleanse the negativities? To what extent you're able to cleanse the negativities? It is determined by to what extent you generate the feeling of regret. To what extent you generate the feeling of regret. You're getting it? Okay. So there, the regret over having done the negativities. Okay, I've done this. This is so wrong. I should not have done it. Right? This is so wrong. I'm just so weak. Henceforth, I will not do that. Right? So this is something which I did. So no, I regret it so much. right? This by no means it helps me. This is so destructive. I was just really this like the demonic kind of action. So regret. This regret will pull you from doing the negativities in the future. So this regret is so important. Regret over non-virtues is virtue. Regret over virtues is non-virtue. Don't forget it. If you do something so well, okay, if you say you give like the 50 rupees or 100 rupees to a beggar, and then coming home, and then you regret, oh no, I've given this 100 rupees. How I wish I just gave a 10 rupees. So 90 rupees will be with me now, so that I can go to KFC, right? So that regret over virtue is non-virtue. Regret over non-virtue is virtue. Okay, don't forget it. So with this, regret is so important element required for you to go through purification. Number 2. What is number 3? Antidotes, the power of antidotes. Okay, now any virtue that you do in order as an antidote to counteract. For example, say if this is a metallic container, if I'm somehow accidentally I hit it on a wall, then it will create a dent. Dent is formed. Dent with a mug with a dent is good or bad? Is not very nice, right? So what do you do? How to fix it? You hit it from inside or from outside? From outside it will become worse. You hit it from the opposite side, right? So any virtue, non-virtue is creating a dent from outside. Now the antidote should be from inside, from the opposite side. So what's the opposite of non-virtue? Virtue. So you do any virtue meant to fix the negative karma that you did or the non-virtue that you did. So that becomes the power of antidote. For example, like making prostrations, right? And then reciting the 100-syllable Vajrasattva mantra, right? And reciting Om Mani Padme Hum, reciting Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Soha, and coming to Tibet house. The 2 very important mantras, what are they? Ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum deshan tathagato hyavatati shamjagniruta evam vatima shramana soha. This mantra, right? You can recite it with tune, without tune, both are fine. And then the Heart Sutra mantra, what is the Heart Sutra mantra? Tyatha Om Gade Gade Para Sam Gade Bodhi Swaha. And more precisely, if you can recite it with the meanings, knowing the meanings, that will be even more effective, right? And then later on, slowly joining the Narendra Diploma course. You know what Narendra Diploma course is? The younger ones? Narendra Diploma course, which Tibet House is giving, joining that. This will then tell you, say how the negative karma is created by ignorance, and how to get rid of ignorance by what? Wisdom. What is wisdom? All these things you learn, and wisdom is the best of the wisdom of emptiness is the best way by which to remedy the negative karmas. You're getting it? Okay, so therefore, slowly, then you should think about, say, a very more effective ways or the antidotes to overcome the non-virtuous karmas. So the one of the most effective way by which to purify negative karmas is by meditating on emptiness. You're getting it? The wisdom of emptiness. For that, you have to know what emptiness is. Simply by saying that, okay, just empty your mind, this emptiness, it does not really connote anything about emptiness. So it has a very specific meaning. So that we have to learn. This is, and making prostrations, doing any virtue aimed to purify negativities, they automatically become the power of antidote. Okay. And more precisely, the meditation emptiness, meditation bodhicitta, they become very powerful remedy over the antidote, part of the antidote. Okay, what's next? The power of not relapsing to negativities. Once you are done with these things, then make a commitment. Henceforth, I will not repeat this negativity. Make a very strong commitment, right? make a very strong commitment. Okay, once you make commitments, try to stay there, try to not relapse. Make commitment and then relapsing is not a good thing. It can create a very bad habit, right? Okay, so these are the four powers by which we can purify the negative karmas. And negative karmas, it is said that there's no negative karma which cannot be purified by the four powers. You getting it? Any negative karma, however hideous, however destructive the negative karmas, however intense the negative karmas, however heavy the negative karmas, they all can be cleansed by resorting to the four powers of purification. Yet, four powers of purification also, you see, depending on how serious you are, what's the degree of your regret. If the regret is 10%, then purification happens only 10%. If the regret is 100%, then the purification can happen fully, right? So therefore, even the four powers, you have to make sure that the four powers are 100% pure. Okay, so we'll stop here now. Okay, any questions on karma? We have 10 minutes. If you have questions, I'll be very happy to give you the answers. Yes?
Venerable Lama, once again, the mundane question. Number one, you've been talking about eating chicken.
Yes.
And you've connected it to negative karma. Science has proved that even plants have life. So when I eat plants, when I eat vegetables, which are plants, I'm going to be a vegetable in my next birth. Number two, if I'm wrong, please correct me, Venerable Lama. I think Lord Buddha died of eating putrid pork.
Say it again.
Lord Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha,
I
I think he died because of putrid pork, eating putrid pork.
Hmm.
Number three, in one of the Buddhist texts, it has been mentioned, I don't have the text with me right away, perhaps I can give it to you, that when the monks approached Shakyamuni Buddha, they asked him and they requested him, what should their stand be on eating non-vegetarian? Shakyamuni Buddha said that if a specific animal kills people, then it is bad, it is incorrect. But yes, if somebody's profession is that he is killing animals, like in the sense if he's a butcher, and eating meat from the butcher is not bad. If I'm correct, if I'm wrong, please correct me. But these are the controversies probably which I feel that engulf me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The questions are very good. Okay, this is very pertinent here. The first one, plant. In fact, let me say like this, the plants are living things, they are not living beings. Science did not prove that the plants are living beings. Science proved that plants are living things. Don't forget it. So the human beings and the animals, they are living things as well as living beings. This we have to distinguish. So the living things, they have the growth, production, reproduction. These things happen, which means that they are living things. Living things may not necessarily be living beings. So in what way the living beings are different from living things is that on top of the reproduction so forth, and the mobility, the movement, sunflower, where the sun is, it will turn towards where the sun is, mobility, and so forth. So there, where the feeling of pain and happiness, where the feeling is involved, that becomes living being on top of being a living thing. Where the feeling is missing, then the living, it simply remains as a living thing. The table is not a living thing, no living being. The fresh plants, they are living things, they are not living beings. Animals and human beings, they are living things as well as living beings. So, we feel compassionate towards somebody who can potentially go through painful feelings. Where the pain is there, we feel compassionate. When the pain is not there, why should we worry? So living things, why we should be so considerate about the environment, plants, trees and so forth, because the trees and so forth, they help us so greatly to sustain the living beings. So environment is the home for us. So why should we destroy the home? Not because that they are living beings, but because this is our home. Okay, this is what will give us the answer. Then number 2, about the Buddha, the pork part. In fact, the story, Buddha's biography is, historically speaking, is never too clear, because records not being so clearly kept, maintained. Now the point is that the Buddha very clearly indicated. So the one thing that we need to keep in mind is that Buddha is extremely pragmatic. Extremely pragmatic, right? And I don't want to mention other religions, right? There are some which are extremes. Extremes, whereas the Buddha's approach is so pragmatic, and too pragmatic is also a problem. Too pragmatic without compassion, again a problem. Okay, there are so many insects, kill them, otherwise they will bring disease. Right? So many mosquitoes, they will kill them, otherwise they will bring dengue. Right? So too pragmatic without compassion is also one extreme. And lack of pragmatism with compassion without the pragmatism is another extreme. Right? So these are two extremes. Buddha avoided two extremes. It's beautiful. The Buddha's approach is so beautiful, is so pragmatic and grounded on pure compassion. So the Buddha saying, what the Buddha said is his followers, the monks and the nuns. Buddha said that don't be too finicky. Don't be too choosy about your food. Because in those days, for example, today, should I be vegetarian, not vegetarian? It's in my hand. I don't have to go begging, right? I can prepare my own food in my house. So I have a total choice. Whereas in those days, the monks and the nuns, they have to go for alms begging, alms round, which means that the lay devotees, what they've prepared, they will give you. Okay, I don't need, what are you offering? Does it have meat? Okay, this is the only thing that I have. The devotees, they will say, the only thing that I have, okay, I don't eat meat. Oh, sorry, then I'll prepare another food for you. Right? So this is just unnecessary burden on the devotees. So therefore, to avoid this complication, the Buddha said that don't be too choosy, just go there, and whatever is being served, you will accept this and express gratitude to the sponsor or to the devotee. Right? Meanwhile, as we said, refrain from eating meat which are defiled in 3 ways. Specifically, meat which are defiled in 3 ways. One is the meat of the animal who you saw being killed for your food. Meat of the animal who you saw being killed for your food. Right? Don't eat that. Because why? For example, say you're invited by a lay devotee, and you're invited there. You go there, and then you saw a chicken running here and there, right? You saw a chicken running here and there, and then your what? The devotee, the host comes and catch the chicken and take to the kitchen, and the chicken is served for you, which means it's very clear that this chicken that you have served is coming from that poor chicken being killed for your food. So that The Buddha said, no compromise, don't eat this. Because if you eat it, you are severing your compassion. Right? You know that, you see that there's a fresh chicken there and you know that it's being killed for your own food. Then you don't eat. If you do this, you go to the extreme of severing your compassion. One. Number two, you do not see chicken running here and there, but say the food is to be served at 12 o'clock and around 11:30 you hear the shriek sound, cry of the animal being killed from the kitchen, killed in the kitchen, right? And then the chicken comes, right? Okay, so I heard the cry of this poor chicken, I'm not going to eat this. This you are not supposed to eat because you know that this is killed specifically for you. Although you have not seen it, but from the cry you know that it's specifically killed for you, number two. So the same thing, that you are severing your compassion. And if you lose the compassion, the very ground of the Buddha's teaching is lost. Number two. Number three, say yesterday you saw a chicken running there in that family, and then today you don't see the chicken, and then instead the food comes with the chicken, and you doubt, okay, perhaps the chicken that I saw yesterday running here and there must have been killed, right? I did not see this killed for me. I did not hear the crying, but I suspect that it must be, killed for my food. So if you suspect, then you are not supposed to eat that. So these are the three defilements related to the meat. Any meat. If you sense that any meat is defiled in any three ways, that the Buddha said, refrain from, right? Okay, so going to the extreme of just the word devouring or just enjoying the meat, this is one extreme. And then being too finicky to create problem on the host. On the host, there is another extreme. So there the Buddha said that be very practical, refrain from the meat, which is defined by these three factors, and then say eat what you get, what the devotees they serve you, you take this. Okay, this is a very practical advice. Okay, so this is, and then what the butcher, you know that there's a butcher there, butcher kill the animal, and then you can eat it. No, not at all. The symbol, any meat which is divided in these three ways, whether it's from the butcher, whether it's from your brother or sister, your friends, whatever, divided in these three ways, no excuse, not permitted. So this applies not only to monks and nuns, any devotee of the Buddhas, anybody who appreciates Buddha's teachings and who wants to follow the Buddha's teachings, they advise, they're not forced. This is not rule. For the monks and nuns, this is rule. But for the others, this is not a rule, but this is what is advised. Right? Okay. Yes. And next over there.
Kishan, I wanted to ask, what was the nature of the karma of Buddha which he did after he attained Nirvana till his Mahaparinirvana? So how do we define that? Like whatever he did.
Okay, that we call as uncontaminated karmas. Uncontaminated karmas. Even the Buddha says accumulated karma. Accumulated karma is nothing bad. They are contaminated karmas accumulation. What we accumulate is always contaminated karmas. Whereas what the Buddha accumulated is always uncontaminated. When you become enlightened, or when you reach the path of seeing, gate, paragate, then sometimes you accumulate contaminated karmas, other times you can accumulate uncontaminated karmas. Whereas when you become enlightened, fully enlightened, then only uncontaminated karmas.
Lama, I have two questions.
Yes.
One with regard to the idea of karma, and second with regard to the idea of being and thing.
Yes.
In Madhyamaka Buddhism, Nagarjuna says that non-arisal is not a permanent condition, And
Nagarjuna said what?
Nagarjuna said that
Non-arising is
not a permanent condition.
not a permanent condition.
It's
Yes.
not a permanent condition. So if we use
Where did you say this?
this is in Mula Madhyama Karka.
Which chapter?
This is in Mula. It begins with that.
Chapter 1.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, chapter 1, it did not say that. It did not say that. You can see the chapter 1 here in this book. There's the chapter 1 here. It's, it did not say that it is permanent, not permanent, nothing.
No. Nagarjuna actually said this. That
No, this is what I'm saying. The book is here. The book is here. Page 108. Page 108, it says, neither from itself, nor from another, nor from both, nor without a cause, does anything whatsoever, anywhere, ever arise. 108, page 108. Particularly when you say that Nagarjuna said it, make sure that you quote it.
I read from the original text.
This is the original text. This is the original text.
Okay, next time I'll get the book.
The best is you bring it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You read in what language? Sanskrit?
I read it in English.
What is this? English is not original.
This is by Kalupana.
So what is Kalupana then? What I'm saying is, if you read in Sanskrit, fine. In English, somebody translated. How confident are you with the translator? This question. There are many terrible translations. Don't forget it.
But my question is this. If we adhere to the Madhyamika Buddhism,
Yes.
do we still go with the logic of karma?
Of course.
And this is the first question. The second is,
Answer is yes. Answer is yes. You must read Nagarjuna's the Bodhicitta Vivarana. You must read that. You must read that. It is quoted here. Bodhicitta Vivarana. It is here actually in this book. Right? Here, this is written by Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna said, in Tibetan, what he's saying is that after realizing that things are empty of intrinsic reality and still conform to the law of karma, this is the amazement of all amazement, and this is the wonder of all the wonders. You getting it? So from this, what Nagarjuna is saying, somebody who realizes emptiness and then respect the law of karma even more. Respect the law of karma even more. This is the real understanding of emptiness, and this is the amazement of all amazement, and this is wonder of all wonders. In other words, Nagarjuna says that if somebody denies the law of karma, the person has not understood emptiness at all, Madhyamika philosophy at all. You getting it? This is very important.
so
What is the second question?
the second question is on the distinction between being and thing. So
Not being anything, living being and living thing.
yeah, living being, living thing.
Yeah.
So things are always speculative, and when we attribute life to a thing, are we still speculative of that?
Okay.
Or
So if you are saying like this is eternal contradiction on you. So you are saying that are we speculating? This is also speculation. Because you are deciding something.
no, because the being cannot be speculative of the living thing, right?
You are saying that beings cannot be speculative for living thing.
Because the being is a definitive being. The being is contemplating what to do in the future.
No. So let us be very precise. Don't just say being, let's say living beings. Don't just make it very short. Being has a very different connotation. Being means existence. You're getting it? So we have to be very precise with the use of vocabulary. It is living beings. You're getting it? So now, living beings, There's a full definition. Living things, it has a full definition. So what science does is that it defines living things. It doesn't define living beings. So living beings is what's explained by the philosophers. Living beings who talk about the feelings. Because the science, modern science, not just science per se, modern science cannot touch the area of the feelings. Medical science does talk about the feelings, but the moment they go into the specialization, they avoid that talk. They talk about the material, the synaptic connections, the transmitters. They don't talk about the feelings. You're getting it? So therefore, living being, concept of living being is not touched by the medical science. Medical science meaning medical science on the research level. You go to the hospital aims, they will talk about the feelings. But on the research level, they will not talk about the feelings. The moment they talk about the feelings, the science becomes very abstract. So science is a very rigorous system which does not involve abstraction. The moment you go into the abstract concepts, then they will not be accepted by the mainstream science.
Are we devaluing the feelings of the living things?
No. So listen. So the point is, living things, you're also living thing. Getting it? Within the living things, there are two categories. Living things which have feelings, which do not have the feelings. You're getting it?
Can life be without feelings? For example, there are the plants, or let's say leaves. Can they be feelingless?
Yes. So what's the problem? So what you should do is, before you ask the question, if the other person asks the same question to you, how can you prove that the plants have the feelings? The living things, which falls in the category of the plants, how can you prove that they have the feelings?
Since it's all dependent, because the nature and the human beings are dependent. For example, the human beings are completely dependent on the wind, or let's say the fresh air that we breathe. It is coming from the plants. So I think that it is for philosophy to explain that the living things also have.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the air that we breathe, which is so essential for us, it comes from the plants. So therefore the plants also have feelings. This is what you're saying.
We have a sentiment towards this. We have a sentiment.
No, that's fine. That is different. So say I can have a great sentiment to my mug. Somebody touches this, I have a sentiment to this mug. But this mug is forget about living being. It is not even a living thing. I can have a sentiment to this. You're getting it? Simply having a sentiment doesn't mean at all that it is a feeling. So whereas if you say that the plants have feelings because they give us the air, then even the air here, air in this, even this should have the feelings. Because this gives us the air that we breathe. So therefore the point is that what are the points that you have, concrete points that you have to say that the plants have the feelings? So scientifically, what the gentleman over there said, scientifically the plants are proven to be living. I agreed with this. I said that the science proves living things, they do not prove living beings. Don't forget it. You're getting it? Okay, so then on top of that, then what is living being? It's a feeling. Science does not at all touch on this area. And why the science does not touch on this area, I can explain it, but the science, the moment they touch it, it does not become a rigorous science because it goes into the mind. And the science touch only the brain, it does not touch the mind. Psychology, it is not considered as a hardcore science. It's not considered as a hard science. You getting it? Okay. Any more questions? Yes.
So then our last question is a short one. There is a book by the name of Secret Life of Plants by Professor Hopkins and Professor Bruce, which categorically has experimented and mentioned that plants do have feelings.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying, let me say the same thing. If this is a science book, this is totally against science to talk about feelings. Totally against hardcore science. Don't forget it. I'm saying this. This is a very important point that I'm making. Nobel laureate, physiologist, Nobel laureate, 2004 Nobel laureate, Eric Kandel, in his book, In Search of Memory. He's a neuroscientist. In Search of Memory, what he said? He said that according to the current neuroscience, there's no mind. It is just a brain. First hypothesis. Don't forget it. Simply because there's a book written by, one scientist, doesn't mean that, doesn't represent that it is a science book. It is scientifically proved. Don't forget it. If you really want to go to say whether science or not, one thing that can be very safe is to see whether it is said by the Nobel laureates in science. Very standard, right? The scientists. Okay, so Eric Kandel, what he said in his book is that present-day neuroscience hypothesis 2 take on the mind. Number 1, there's no mind, it's the brain. Number 2, there is mind, but it's a derivative of the brain. The moment the brain dies, the mind disappears. This is a current neuroscience stand. So there's no room for feeling. The moment you go into the feeling, they will kick you out from the neuroscience, the spectrum. You getting it? So don't mix the two things up. People who write, scientists who write novels, right? Don't mix those books with the standard science books. Simply because somebody wrote a book. And even scientists can write books on the third eye. You know what third eye is? This purely, say the fictitious thing. Shambhala, third eye. Right? Then people will buy this and it becomes a bestseller and they get money. Right? So it doesn't mean anything. And people talk about the God particles. Right? It is not at all scientific. Just recently we had a conference on quantum physics and the Buddhist philosophy. So there somebody brought up God particle, now the God particle is found and so forth. The physicists outrightly said that God particles are just a propaganda by some people. This is not at all science. Right? So therefore, always be able to distinguish what is a proper science and what is a fictitious science. Don't mix the two things. Simply because somebody wrote a book with a PhD in physics, PhD in neuroscience, and wrote a book, doesn't mean that this is a science book. Don't forget it. Okay, any other questions? Okay, we will quickly do the dedication prayer. Okay, so what I would say is the questions are very important. Questions are very precious, but particularly if you want to cite someone, make sure that you have the proper wordings. Before you bring the proper wordings, see that whether it's the original Sanskrit or translation. If translation, who translated this? Make sure that it's a very standard translation, right? Only then you can bring this up. Otherwise, it's just waste of time. There are so many books translated. Which is actually very useful. It's so less handful. You're getting it? This is so important. Otherwise, the questions should not be suppressed, but the questions must be a good question. Good question? Okay. Do a quick dedication prayer, page 272. 278. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful changes the Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samadabhadra too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these rules of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by the victorious ones, thus go on of the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. Chanjur Sanjur Rambochim Magya Panam Kengyurojim Gyaboy Nyamboy Memoyam Kone Kondo Pebarashu. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 3 times, and to the upholding of the Dharma of teaching and realization. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect in the 2 stages. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, inspired by wisdom and compassion. Today in the Buddha's presence, I generally mind a full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. The path of union of emptiness and compassion is loosely explained by the protector of Buddha, Dharma, and the beings from the snowland. You are the lotus of the Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans or non-humans who herb and manage through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be truly vanquished through the power of the truth of the 3 jewels. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, we enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths. May I could attain the state of Vajradhara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Ram and Yushri in being able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of dependent origination in particular, even in the course of my life. Okay, good night.